Morning, guys. Hiya. Kunuz. Kunuz, Lion. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Mr.
Morning. Mariam. Hala. Mariam. Sama. Ryan. Yahya. Ryan, Yahya. Yasmin Sa'a. And then Yusuf Hawad. Okay. So there are 16 students with me in the room now. بغدادي, وليد, جنة جودة, حسن جودة, حسن رحيم, هايا, كنوز, ليان, جنة تامر, حلا شريف, مريم, أسامة, ريان, يحيى, ياسمين السقا, and Yusuf Awad. Guys, in last Tuesday in the first session, I had about 9 absentees: Ali, Muhammad Tawakkul, Ryan, Haya, Jana Garayhi, Kunuz, Layan, Noreen, and Yasmin Sa'a. In the second session, there were about 14 absentees: Ali, Tawakkul, Ryan, Haya, Jana Garayhi, Kunuz, Layan, Noreen, Sa'a, Sahrawi, Jana Osman, Mariam, Lulwa, and Martina. Please attend the sessions. Your attendance is really important. Now I have 16 of you with me in the room, or 17. We're waiting for others to join us. Again, I have Boghdadi, Walid, Gouda. This is Lolwa trying to join. Okay, Lolwa. Boghdadi, Walid, Janna Gouda. Hala, Hassan Gouda, Hassan Ruhaim, Haya, Kunuz, Layan, Lulwa, Mariam, Usama, Ryan, and Tadrus. Okay, guys, I asked you last, I think yesterday, we have also Yahya Awad, Yasmin, Sa'a, Yusuf Awad, and Gannatam. I asked you to join PISinter. This is the PISinter page here. Give me a second.
Mr. Ruwaida.
Excuse me?
Either.
Can you see the screen, guys? Hello, can you see the screen? Answer me, guys, please. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Mr.
Okay, so I asked the whole class to just click on the link I left on Facebook group and register here in PISinter. This is a site for making comics. Maybe in the project, I'll ask you to make a comic. I'll give you a topic and you're supposed to make the topic using this site, wonderful site. 3 people only registered: Mariam, Ryan, and Yasin. Tadrus gave it a try, but he failed. I'm not sure why. Try again, Tadrus. If we go to grade 12, I ask them to do the same. See how many people joined. You can see the list. About 16 people joined in one day, and grade 11 just 3. I'm not sure why you are that lazy, guys. it's very easy. You just click on the link and use your Microsoft account, the school account, and it's a piece of cake. Okay, please do it as soon as possible because you'll need it for your project this term. This is Yasmin Said. And Yasin Said. Okay, and remember, next Tuesday we have a novel quiz. Can you all hear me? Grade 11, can you hear me?
Yes, miss.
Okay. Next Tuesday you have a quiz on the novel. It will cover up to the part we're going to finish today. We'll see where we will stop today, and we will do from the beginning of part 9 to the part we're going to cover today. Okay? It will be Tuesday according to the quiz table Ms. Lamia shared with you. So I asked you to read this title as a home assignment, The Ageless Brother. It's just a page and maybe a couple of lines. Can you put your hand up if you're sure you read it? Yasin and Yasmin. Okay, can you put your hands up if you're sure you read it? Guys, I ask again. Last time, I assigned you to read this title, The Ageless Brother. Is just one page and a couple of lines. Put your hand up, please, if you have read it. So nobody read it. Nobody read this title. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I want somebody to read The Ageless Brother. I have a question before you read. Who do you think is the ageless brother is? And whose brother is he? Yasin, go ahead.
Liesel's brother.
Yeah, do you remember his name? Perfect. His name was Werner, W-E-R-N-E-R. Yes. I have another question, guys. How old was Werner when he died on the train? How old was Werner, Liesel's brother, when he died on the train in the hands of his mother? How old was he then? Lolwa? Lolwa, can you hear me? Lolwa?
Yes, Mr. I can hear you.
How old was Werner when he died? Any idea?
I think he was 8 years old.
Maybe. Listen to Hassan Gouda. Hassan?
I think 6.
Yes, perfect. He was 6. Thank you, Lolwa. Thank you, Hassan. He was 6 when he died. And I need a reader. I need a volunteer. Who's ready? Who is ready? Type. I'll take Baghdadi. Baghdadi, can you read? Follow up, guys. I'll pause Baghdadi anytime and ask a question and call your name. Please follow up. Baghdadi. Abdurrahman. Abdurrahman Baghdadi, are you there? Baghdadi is not here. Ruhaim is ready. Baghdadi, you are absent this session. Sorry. Ruhaim. Start.
Okay, the ageless brother. Liesel Meminger was a few weeks short of 14. Her papa was still away. She had completed 3 more reading sessions with a devastated woman. On many nights, she had watched Rosa sit with the accordion and pray with her chin on top of the pillows. Now she thought it's time. Usually it was stealing that cheered her up, but on this day it was giving something back.
Okay,
She
wait,
reached
Hassan.
under her.
Wait,
Okay.
Hassan. I have a question here, and this question will go to Kunuz. Kunuz, can you hear me? Kunuz.
Yes, miss.
Okay, the question is, here he says she had completed 3 more reading sessions with a devastated woman. Who is this woman? Who is the woman Liesel was reading for? Do you remember her name? Kunuz, I think you didn't attend the Tuesday sessions, right?
Yes, miss.
Yes, you were absent here. Okay, no problem. I'll pick another one. Layan was also absent. Mariam Naqib, can you answer my question? Liesel had completed 3 more reading sessions with a devastated woman. Who this woman is?
I don't remember her name, but she offered to pay her with coffee, I think.
Okay, the woman whose son died, his name was Robert. He has another brother, Michael, the boy who used to come and call Liesel to read for his mom. Remember? Frau Holzapfel. Frau Holzapfel, we did this last time. Okay, thank you, Mariam. Go on, Hassan. Hassan?
Me?
Yeah, go on.
Now she thought it's time. Usually it was stealing that cheered her up, but on this day it was giving something back. She reached under her bed and removed the plate as quickly as she could. She cleaned it in the kitchen and made her way out. It felt nice to be walking up through mulching. The air was sharp and flat, like the watching of a sadistic teacher or nun. Her shoes were the only sound on Munchin Street. As she crossed the river, a rumor of sunshine stood behind the clouds at 8 grand's stress. As she walked up the steps, left the plate by the front door and knocked, and by the time the door was opened, the girl was around the corner. Liesel did not look back, but she knew that if she did, she'd have found her brother at the bottom of the steps again, his knees completely healed. She could even hear his voice. That's better, Liesel. It was with great sadness that she realized that her brother would be 6 forever. But when she held that thought, she also made an effort to smile. She remained at Amper River at the bridge where Papa used to stand and lean. She smiled, and when it all came out, she walked home, and her brother never climbed into her sleep again. In many ways, she would miss him, but she could never miss his deadly eyes on the floor of the train or the sound of a cough that killed. The book thief lay in the bed that night, and the boy only came before she closed her eyes. He was one member of a cast for Liesel was always visited in that room. Her papa stood and called her half a woman. Max was writing the word shaker in the corner. Rudy was naked by the door. Occasionally, her mother stood on a bedside train platform, and far away in the room that stretched like a bridge to a nameless town, her brother Werner played in the room as cemetery snow. From down the hall, like a mentrum from the visions, Rosa snored and Liesel lay awake, surrounded, but also remembering a quote from her most recent book, "The Last, the Last Human Stranger." There were people everywhere on the city streets, but the stranger could not have been more alone if it were empty.
Go on, Hassan.
When morning came, the visions were gone, and she could hear the quiet recitals of words in the living room. Rosa was sitting with the accordion praying. "Make them come back alive," she repeated. "Please, Lord, please." All of them. Even the wrinkling around her eyes were joining hands. The accordion must have ached her, but she remained. Rosa would never tell Hans about these moments, but Liesel believed that it must have been those prayers that helped Papa survive the LAC's accident in Essen. If they didn't help, they certainly can't have hurt.
Okay, thank you, Hassan. So, guys, here, remember last time we said that when Liesel and Rudy went to steal a new book from the mayor's library, the mayor's wife left them something on the table. Can you remind me of it? What did the mayor's wife leave for Liesel and Rudy when they went stealing last time? Hala Sharif? Hala? Hala, can you answer?
I'm not sure.
Hmm?
I'm not sure about. I'm not sure about the
Did you
information.
attend last session?
Yes.
We said it again and again, Hala. The mayor's wife left Liesel something on the table, on a plate.
Food,
Yeah, some food. What type of food? Yes, it was food. Good.
milk, and cookies.
Some cookies. Yes, some cookies, just some cookies. Okay. The girl took the plate of cookies and went out of the library and ate the cookies along with Rudy and the other boy. And then Liesel is back to return the empty plate. She put it in front of the door, knocked on the door, and left. She didn't want to look back because if she looked back, she would see her brother, her dead brother Werner, sitting on the stairs, bleeding. His knee was bleeding, okay? And he is still the same age as he died. This was all her imagination. The girl went back home and had the vision that some people visited her. Those people were her brother, her papa, because Hans Huberman is in the battlefield now. He is in a city called Essen fighting with the army and something in a body called LSE. And Max, she imagined that Max was writing his book, The World Shaker. Remember this title? Rudy was there also. She imagined that Rudy was there naked by the door. Occasionally, her mother, Rosa, stood on a bedside train platform. No, her real mother here. Her real mother, because the last time she saw her mother when she brought her to milking on the train. And far away in the room, all this was just imagination that stretched like a bridge to a nameless town. Her brother Werner, she also saw her brother Werner, played in the cemetery snow. He was playing in the cemetery snow. She imagined or had this vision. From down the hall, like a metronome for the visions, Rosa snored. When she came to herself again, she found that Rosa was lying next to her, snoring, and Liesel lay awake, surrounded, but also remembering a quote from her most recent book. The quote said, "There were people everywhere on the city street, but the stranger could not have been more alone if it were empty." And it was the same, surrounded by people, like being found in an empty place. It gave her the same feeling. Okay, let's go on to the next title, The Accident. There will be an accident here. And remember last time we said that someone will die with his mouth open. Can you remind me of his name? Somebody would die with his mouth open. Remember the name Reinhold? We'll see how he will die. I need another volunteer to read, please. I need another volunteer to read. Please put your hand up. Haya, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you read the accident?
Okay. It was a surprisingly clear afternoon, and the men were climbing into the truck. Hans Huberman had just sat down in his appointed seat. Reinhold Zucker was standing above him. "Move it," he said. "Bite, excuse me." Zucker was hunched beneath the vehicle's ceiling. I said, "Move it, Iceclot." The greasy jungle of his fringe fell in clumps onto his forehead. "I'm swapping seats with you." Hans was confused. The back seat was probably the most uncomfortable of the lot. It was the draftiest, the coldest. "Why? Does it matter?" Zucker was losing patience. "Maybe you want to get off first to use the shit house." Hans was quickly aware that the rest of the unit was already watching this pitiful struggle between two supposed grown men. He didn't want to lose, but he didn't want to be petty either. Also, they just finished a tiring shift and he didn't have the energy to go on with it. Bent backed, he made his way forward to the vacant seat in the middle of the truck. Why did you give in to that
Shy stop.
case?
Shy.
The man next to him asked.
Hmm.
Hans lit a match and offered a share of the cigarette. The draft bag there goes straight through my ears. The olive green truck was on its way toward the camp, maybe 10 miles away. Bronnenwig was telling a joke about a French waitress when the left front wheel was punctured and the driver lost control. The vehicle rolled many times and the man swore as they trembled with the air, the light, the trash, and the tobacco. Outside, the blue sky changed from ceiling to floor. They clambered for something to hold. When it stopped, they were all crowded onto the right-hand wall of the truck, their faces wedged against the filthy uniform next to them. Questions of wealth were passed around until one of the men, Edi Alma, started shouting, "Get this bastard off me." He said it 3 times, fast. He was staring into Reinhold Zucker's blankless eyes. The damage isn't 6 men burned by cigarettes, 2 broken hands, several broken fingers, a broken leg for Hans Haberman, a broken neck for Reinhold Zucker, snapped almost in line with his earlobes.
Okay, thank you, Haya. So,
Yeah.
guys, at the beginning, here, Hans sits at the back of the truck. Reinhold Zucker comes and wants this seat for himself. It was the most uncomfortable seat of all, but Reinhold wanted it. When Hans asked him, "Why do you want it?" he said, "Maybe I want to go to the bathroom first." So Hans gives it up for him. And minutes later, the car, the front wheel of the car, the front left tire, gets punctured and the car turns over many times, and it was a big accident. Some people lost their fingers, some people broke a leg like Hans Huberman, and one of them lost his life. Guess who? It was Reinhold Zucker. Reinhold Zucker died opening his mouth as Death, the narrator, told us last time. I need another volunteer. Another volunteer, please. Tadros, go ahead.
They dragged each other out until the corpse was left in the truck. The driver Helmut Broman was sitting on the ground, scratching his head. The tire, he explained, it just blew. Some of the men sat with him and echoed that it wasn't his fault. Others walked around smoking, asking each other if they thought their injuries were bad enough to be relieved of duty. Another small group gathered at the back of the truck and viewed the body over by a tree. A thin strip of intense pain was still opening in Hans Obermann's leg. Should have been me, he said. What? The sergeant called over from the truck. He was sitting in my seat. Holman Broman regained his senses and climbed back into driver's compartment sideways. He tried to start the engine, but there was no kicking it over. Another truck was sent for, as was an ambulance. The ambulance didn't come. You know what Boris Chipper, they did. When they resumed the trip back to camp, each man tried not to look down at Reinhold Zucker's open-mouthed sneer. I told you you should have turned him face down. few times simply and their feet on the body. Once they arrived, they all tried to avoid the task of pulling him out. When the job was done, Hans Huberman took a few abbreviated steps before the pain fractured in his leg, and hour later, the doctor explained him. He was told it was definitely broken. The surgeon was on hand and stood with a half a grin. Well, Huberman, look like you have got away with it. Doesn't it? He was shaking his round face, smoking, and he provided a list of what would happen next. You will rest up. They'll ask me what we should do with you. I will tell them you did a great job. He blew some more smoke. I think I will fit here. You should to Munich to work in an office or whatever cleaning up needs doing there. How does that sound? Unable to resist a laugh within the grimace of pain, Hans replied, "It sounds good." Said Morris Chipper finished his cigarette. Damn right, I like you. Hopperman, you're lucky, you're a good man and generous with the cigarettes. In the next room, they were making up the plaster.
Okay, thank you, Tadros. So here in this part, as we said last time, Reinhold Zucker died with his mouth open, as Death told us in this accident. He broke a neck and died with his mouth open. All the other people didn't want to pull him out of the truck, but Hans, although the man treated Hans harshly, Hans, with his broken leg, could pull him out of the truck. When he went to the surgeon said to Hans, "You did a great job. They will ask me what we would do with Hans. I would say he did a great job and he can go to town, back to town. He can go back home to do some of the cleaning stuff or something like that." Of course, this was a blessing for Hans because a broken leg is better than losing his own life. Going back home with a broken leg was something good and something to rejoice. Unable to resist a laugh, he was happy here. Within the grimace of pain, within the smile of pain, Hans replied, "It sounds good, Surgeon." He liked the idea of being sent back home to do another task in an office or some cleaning up. And the people in the place liked Hans, and this is clear from Shipper's work here, or words. "Damn right, it sounds good. You're lucky. I like you, Huberman. Why? You're lucky and you're a good man and generous with the cigarettes." Remember, Hans was giving them his cigarettes all the time. He was sharing them with the other guys. Here, the better taste of question. Our questions. A volunteer. A volunteer. Liane, can you hear me, Liane? Guys, make me hear your voice because once you don't share,
Yes, Mr.
you take a bad mark with participation. You need to participate. You need to let me hear your voice. I want to feel that you're there. Okay, Liane. Read.
Just above or from where?
Yeah, the better taste of questions.
Okay. Just above a week after Liesel's birthday in mid-February, she and Rosa finally received a detailed letter from Hans Huberman. She ran inside from the mailbox and showed it to Mama. Rosa made her read it aloud. And they could not contain their excitement when Liesel read about his broken leg. She was stunned to the extent that she mouthed the next sentence only to herself. "What is it?" Rosa pushed so much. Liesel looked up from the letter and was close to shouting. The sergeant had been true to his word. "He's coming home. Mama, Papi's coming home." They embraced in the kitchen, and the letter was crushed between their bodies. A broken leg was certainly something to celebrate. When Liesel took the news next door, Barbara Steiner was she rubbed the girl's arms and called out to the rest of her family. In their kitchen, the household of Steiners seemed buoyed by the news that Hans Huberman was returning home. Rudy smiled and laughed, and Liesel could see that he was at least trying. However, she could also sense the bitter taste of questions in his mouth. Why him? Why Hans Huberman, not Alex Steiner? He had a point.
Okay, thank you. So the girl and her mom hug after reading the letter received from Hans, telling them that he had broken a leg and he's going to be sent back home, which was good news for them. Again, a broken leg is better than losing one's life. They were very happy because he was coming back home. And then the Steiners, Rudy's family knew about this news. Remember, Alex Steiner, Rudy's father, was also in the army at that time. Rudy felt something like jealous. Rudy smiled and laughed, and Liesel could see that he was at least trying. He was trying to smile, but he wanted to ask inside himself, why not my dad? Again, why Hans Huberman and not Alex Steiner? He wanted to say this question, and he had a point. Why did they send Hans back and they didn't send my dad? Sorry, I need another volunteer. Guys, make sure you are following up. Study this part for the Tuesday exam. Again, the Tuesday exam will cover the parts from the beginning of part 9 up to the last page we're going to read today. So pay attention, please. Don't attend the session by name only. Attend the session by name and by attention, please, because this will come in the exam. Okay. One toolbox, one blader, one bear. Who's going to read? Who's going to read? Okay, Hala, thank you very much. Start.
Start from where?
From one toolbox here, since.
Okay. Since his father's recruitment to the army of the previous October, Rudy's anger had been growing nicely. The news of Hans Huberman's return was all he needed to take it a few steps further. He did not tell Liesel about it. There was no complaining that it wasn't fair. His decision was to act. He carried a metal case up Hamel Street at the typical thieving time of darkening
So
afternoon.
hold on, Hala, please. So
Rudy's toolbox, it was patchy
Hala,
and red.
Wait, Hala.
Red and
Hala, wait, please.
okay.
So Rudy was angry inside himself that his father was left back in the army the time they sent Hans back home. Again, you know why Hans was sent back home? Because he broke a leg in the accident, right? So Rudy decided to have his revenge by stealing. He was angry that his father was still in the army, sorry, while Hans was sent back. So he decided to steal. He carried a metal case, a metal box, up Hemel Street at the typical thieving time of darkening afternoon. In the dark afternoon, before sunset, a little bit before sunset, he carried his box, stealing box, and went out to steal. What are the contents or the components of this box? Hala?
It was patchy red and the length of an oversized shoebox. It contained the following: rusty pocket knife, small flashlight, and 2 hammers, one medium and one small, hand towel, and 3 screwdriver,
Yes.
varying in size, ski mask, clean socks, and teddy bear.
Okay, so this was
Complete.
the components or the contents, yes, of his toolbox. He, again, what was he going to do? He was going to steal. Go on, Hala.
Liesel saw him from the kitchen window, his purposeful steps and committed face exactly like the day he'd gone to find his father. He gripped the handle with as much force as he could, and his movements were stiffened with rage. What's the meaning of rage?
Anger. He was angry.
The book thief dropped the towel she was holding and replaced it with a single thought. He's going stealing. She ran out to him. There was not even the semblance of a hello. Rudy saw him. close to Tommy Muller's apartment block, he said, "You know something, Liesel? I was thinking you're not a thief at all." And he didn't give her a chance to reply. That woman lets you in. She even leaves you cookies for Christ's sake. I don't call that stealing. Stealing is what the army does. Taking your father and mine. He kicked a stone and it clanged against a gate. He walked faster. All those rich Nazis up there on grand stress. Get stress, hide stress.
These are names
Liesel
of
could
streets.
concentrate.
For SMU Street, these are 3 streets in Malking. Okay, go on.
Liesel could concentrate on nothing but keeping up. They'd already passed Frau Deller's and were well on to Monash Street. Rudy, how does it feel anyway? How does what feel? When you take one of those books.
Okay, thank you. So the boy decided to go stealing. Why? As a type of revenge for his father who is in the army. And he says to Liesel, Liesel sees him and joins him in the street. You are not a thief after all. Why? He told her that the mayor's wife gave you food and left that window, the library window open for you all the time. So this is not stealing. Okay. And I need another person to read, please. I need another person to read. We still have about 3 minutes. I need a fast reader this time. Lolwa, can you read for us? Lolwa?
Yes, mister.
Can you read this page quickly?
Yes. When you take one of those books, at that moment you chose to keep still. If he wanted an answer, he'd have to come back, and he did. Well, but again, it was Rudy who answered before Liesel could even open her mouth. It feels good, doesn't it, to steal something back? Liesel forced her attention to the toolbox, trying to slow him down. What have you got in there? He bent over and opened it up. Everything appeared to make sense, but the teddy bear. As they kept walking, Rudy explained the toolbox at length and what he would do with each item. For example, the hammer were sews matching windows, and the towel was to wrap them up to quell the sound. And the teddy bear, it belonged to Anna Marie Stenier and was no bigger than one of Liesel's book. The fur was shaggy and worn. The eyes and ears had been sewn back and repeatedly, but it was friendly looking nonetheless. Dad, answered Rudy, it is the one master stroke that if a kid walks in while I'm inside, I'll give him it to them to calm them down. And what do you
This is
plan
the
to
reason
steal?
why he had the teddy bear with him. If a kid walks in while I'm stealing his home, I will give it to him to calm him down. Okay, go on.
He shrugged. Money, food, jewelry, whatever I can get my hand on. It sounded simple enough. It wasn't until 15 minutes later, when Liesel watched the sudden silence on his face, that she realized Rudy Stenier wasn't stealing anything. The commitment that had disappeared, and although he still watched the imagined glory of stealing, he could see that now he was not believing it. It was trying to believe it, and that's never a good sign. His criminal greatness was unfurling before his eyes, and as the footsteps slowed and they watched the house's Liesel, relief was pure and sad inside her. It was Gulbstrasse. On the whole, the house sat dark and huge. Rudy took off his shoes and held them. With his left hand, he held the toolkit with his right between the clouds. There was a moon, perhaps a mile of light. What am I waiting for? He asked, but Liesel didn't reply. Again, Rudy opened his mouth, but without any words, he placed the toolbox on the ground and sat on it. His socks grew cold and wet.
Thank you, Lolwa. Thank you very much. I end
Okay.
the session now, guys, and see you in 3 minutes, just 3 minutes. Thank you.